Hello, my dear friends.
今天呢，我们开讲通灵者之二。
So today, we're going to talk about part 2 of Clairvoyant. I believe yesterday, when you hear our live stream, you might had a lot of, think about a lot of different things. So in our daily life, those professional psychic are very few among people. And so they're professional ones that they can use it at any time. But actually, everybody, we should say, we are psychic, and in our life there will be a few times that we would have a psychic experience. Do you believe? Oh, yeah, we do. That's so amazing. Even just normal people, we would have this kind of supernormal power. Well, you two are mothers, right? Yeah. So maybe your child, when they were little, the younger they are, maybe, mother will always look after them, and a little kid, a little baby cannot live without mothers, right? Say, for example, you were cooking in the kitchen and the baby is in the bedroom, and you cannot monitor the baby. But if the baby accidentally fall from the crib, and especially, or maybe from the bed, and especially if he hurt his nose, and if you're in the kitchen and you couldn't hear any sound from the bedroom, that the younger the baby is, if he fall from the bed, usually the mother would be almost like have seen this, and it's like being shocked. And also at this time, mothers cannot go for business trips, and so if you go out and if there's any bumps or something of the baby, then mom would be the first one to feel that. Have you ever had that experience before? Because little babies, it's very normal to have any, falls or bumps. But for mothers, this is like a huge thing. And also, when the father has been on a business trip and is on a trip and is about to come back, at that time when we don't have cell phones, and then usually we don't have the phone, so we would have to guess, right? But then the baby would starting to sort of bubbling like daddy, daddy, daddy. And then Christine, in your childhood, have you ever been away from your parents for a period of time? Have you been with your grandparents? Yes, Christine said yes. And so at that time, maybe you will just say, oh, sometimes you'll just call like mama, mama. And if you continue to bubbling like that, then your grandma would say, oh, maybe your mom will come. Oh, yesterday we also mentioned about the octopus and how octopus reacted, right? Octopus has the brain, but they don't have logic mind, and so it's just from intuition. And then so who will win? And octopus won't understand what you're saying. Well, he probably won't be able to understand the language, and then yeah, of course the octopus won't be able to understand the language, but at that time he would just pick a card, and then that indicates the winner. So at that time, when the octopus picks, they put, national flags of different countries in different boxes. And would the octopus, feel, some kind of like, maybe he prefers one kind of picture or a flag or something, or and so they, I don't know how well the octopus side, visual side is. Well, we're not octopus So we cannot know for sure how octopus would pick the card, but from how the bird picked the oracle, the bird is just, picking the card for some food. But so that's what the bird was thinking. But which card? It's just very random. So remember the word random, but not planned. So it's not like, okay, I've just picked the first card, now I'm going to pick the second card. So human beings have a very regulated life, especially in the city. And people who always, especially those who are the higher education you have, then the more regulated your life would be. Say, for example, those educated people, they won't spit on the ground, and let alone they would pee or poop on the ground. But if you go to Tibet or to the plateau, they will have to, have bowel movement or whatever on the ground, because there would be no washrooms over there. And then also they won't have any education over there, and maybe a family would have 159 sheep, and they've never accurately counted how many sheep. They would only know maybe around over 100. And so when they're maybe the grandson is sending all the sheep into the barn, and then the grandfather is saying, oh yeah, just about 100 or over 100. And so neither the grandpa nor the grandson would be able to calculate all of that. And would they spit on the ground? Well, of course, there's nowhere. Yeah. Do you ask them to spit in a glass or a cup? Only the city people would have all these rules, and these cups are for drinking tea, right? And so all these rules are just for city people. And in here in the plateau, then this is like, this is just what they will do. And so the higher education you will have more rules, and then there will be less inspiration or intuition. Oh, that's why. So that's when we have been free, we used to, freedom. And when people are going to a place or a city with lots of rules, and will feel very uneasy. And if someone who always do things according to rules, when suddenly there's complete freedom, and this person would also be, puzzled and doesn't know what to do. And so we're just discussing about psychic and intuition and intuition and inspiration. And so these abilities, there's no equations or something. It's beyond any bondage or any restrictions or something. Look at the artists. A lot of times artists, maybe it will lead maybe a performance, and so these entrepreneurs will see, there's so many people die, but they don't have any emotions. But and the military officers might be still very serious, but the artists are already crying and tears, and what happened? Whose mother is? They say, this mother is not easy. And why are you crying? As if you don't have a mother anymore. Well, and then so there's a very famous musician a singer who's Liu Huan, and Liu Huan would say, how come you really like to cry? Those are artists, right? Singers or And look at those poets. They're like, you secretly come and secretly go. What does it mean? That's nothing. Mathematician would say, like, this is nothing. You come and go. But artists say, we care about the process. And then, oh no, someone is, is just left aside, and then but the entrepreneur only care about profits, and then so they are very serious, and they won't talk about all these emotions. So who will have these inspirations or intuitions? Artists might have, and then they need a lot of inspirations. Yes, there are artists really need inspiration, like Picasso. With the inspiration, maybe he would draw the nose on the leg. Well, and then who dare to draw a nose on the leg? Only Picasso, probably. And eyes on the toes. Oh, only Picasso. Well, someone might say this is crazy, but are you able to be crazy? Very, if an artist or a student learn in the institute to, you have to draw this way, and you have to measure how long from the tip of the nose to the mouth, and then from the tip of the nose to the eyebrows, how many centimeters, and then if you go to an art institute, if you draw like 1 centimeter more, then you will be blamed. Yeah. How dare you draw that 1 centimeter more? Only Picasso. Which country was he from? Maybe either Italy or France, and where they have a lot of, or Spain. Another. Ali is also very crazy. Yeah. He also draw very crazy paintings. Yeah, but his painting was still more than mine. Yeah. They have a lot of inspiration, and they will cry easily. And they and sometimes they'll tell lots of I'm not going to say anything more. So those students, if they draw everything completely accurate according to the human size, then they draw it for 7 years, and they couldn't be sold more than $7. But maybe those artists who just draw for 7 minutes, they can sell for like millions of dollars. And so okay. And Kunti asks, how does this inspiration comes from? So this just comes like that. So first you are just scratch on your hair, and then second you need to bump the wall, or maybe third on the rainy day go out and try to catch a thunder, or maybe take a wrong medication, or but before you even get the inspiration, some people will get sick already. Anyways, we're going to freestyle. Well, a lot of those cultivators in the past in China, they say, I'm like a gust of wind, and go with the wind. Remember a writer called San Mao, the 3 hairs, and so she was an artist, and remember her song? La 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 la. Do you still remember that? Oh, Christine, sing. Grandmaster, you should sing. So it's like very randomly or freely, wherever there's nobody, then she will go there. Do you know where she went? The Sahara Desert. Why did she go? Because she had the inspiration. Not like Elon Musk that goes to Mars. There's no train that will go to the Mars. Well, now without train, they dare to think. And so this writer went to the Sahara Desert in like 10 kilometers. There's nobody there. There's only sand. And nothing else. So what do you want to do there? Yeah, and she wanted to write poems, and it's all dry with sand. Well, anyways, the Chinese poem in pronunciation is the same as wet, and then the desert is dry. So there's something there. Wet and dry. So anyways, let's come back. If you have ever experience that your maybe your family member, your a senior in your family who passed away. I believe 80% of you have actually sensed it. It doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. Maybe you think, oh, I don't believe in, you only believe in science, but at that time you will receive the message from your family member, and maybe you receive the message like, oh, be nice to your mom, and because she has diabetes, and then when you wake up, then you think, oh no, your mom passed away. Oh, last night she came to say goodbye. So a lot of people receive messages like that. Maybe someone just napped, and then they received the message, and some people even saw their family member being taken by the ghost and went to hell. And then there's some people actually saw that, and there are also people who saw that their mothers were guided to heaven, and some Buddhists saw that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and come with the lotus flower and brought the mother to paradise, to the Pure Land. And so those people with a direct blood relationship, then they have these experiences. This is absolutely true. Like 80% of the people will receive this message. So who can have these intuition or psychic ability? Everybody can, but because of many reasons, you're not a professional psychic. When they are professional psychic, their intuition and being able to use the psychic ability to do something, that's not easy. So like those people who can tell prophecies or have any precognitions, they need to learn, and they need to be trained and to be the professional psychic, and they have also the responsibility to serve the public and also help people. And some even have the responsibility or the vow to help all people. The more that they want to serve the public and help all sentient beings, the more powerful their psychic ability will be. It doesn't matter in which country or which nation. And so there are people who have these supernormal powers everywhere. So today, I'll bring you a story that happened in the United States, in New Jersey, in a very small town, and happened in November 1982. There was a girl, Amy, who was a high school student, about 16 or 17 years old. And in North America, a lot of the high school students, usually after school, they would go to work in some places. A lot of people work in McDonald's or sometimes go to some stores or companies or hospitals, and Amy worked in a mall. And that day, after work, after she finished work, it's already 9:30 p.m. But ever since then, this Amy was missing. But after that, so the police investigated, and there are also other colleagues, co-workers, also left work at 9:30 p.m. in November. In North America, it's quite dark, and in the American parkade, there must be some light, but it's also pretty dark. So there were co-workers who saw Amy's car. There was another car, which was a green car. It was an American car called Chevrolet. And we still have this brand car in North America or many countries, and quite a popular brand name car. And on the car, there was a young man, a Caucasian. And this town was not a big town. So when Amy was missing, and this news spread all over, and all young ladies dare not go out anymore in the evening. You know, in North America, a lot of the towns, they're very safe. So even girls, you know, it's very safe to go out even in the evening or at night. But because of Amy's missing, everybody in the town was afraid, and girls, especially girls, dare not come out at night. And so after Amy was missing, her her families and classmates, they all searched and see where she is. Did she was she kidnapped or someone? And so Amy's good friend, this good friend's mother knows psychic, and this psychic, let's call her Nancy Weber. And she is a real person. This is a picture of Nancy. This is her picture later. And when she was, well, in 1982, she was much younger than this. And so this Amy's friend's mother, and so Nancy would ask her, so what does she look like, and what color is her eyes, and what color was her hair? And you know, a lot of the girls, that their hair can be many different colors, maybe brown or white or you know, gold or gray or what, and they can have even 7 or 8 different colors of eyes. It's not like Chinese people, they only have black hair, black eyes. And I noticed that European people, they can have blues or gray or, you know, green or or like golden kind of, and a little dark like black or so. Nancy, so she needs some information about Amy, and like how did she look like, her height and weight, and you know, color of the skin, and any you know features of her body. And so when she was asking these, she started to sense. And while she was receiving the phone call, and very quickly an image starting to appear in her mind. It was a naked body. So it was a dead body. It's not alive anymore. And the body has many different wounds and was cut, many cut wounds. And so when she saw the image, she already saw that this person is already dead, and she already saw the dead body, and this girl was lying in the water, and before she died, she was brutally attacked and raped, and even after she was dead, the murderer continued to cut her. So she was able to see the whole process, even before she died and after she died. And this murder is so cruel. It's really, this is a very crazy murderer. And so this psychic Nancy, after she saw that, so Amy's friend's mother recorded all these very precious information, right? So after a few hours, the police received, only after a few hours, the police received a phone call. So someone discovered Amy's dead body in a pool, like in the water, a pond. Yeah, because that matches what Nancy said in the water. Yeah. And so they found the dead body of Amy, and it was exactly as what Nancy had already seen. So she had lots of wounds on the body, and quite terribly, and very terrible. But because of and then the next day, of course, this news comes to the newspaper, and in the local town there used to be very safe, so they don't have many murders in that town. So the news on the newspaper, they didn't mention or describe that the girl had been cut before she died, and it was so cruel, and never mentioned that she was sexually abused. And so it just mentioned very simply that she just was killed. And when Nancy read the newspaper, and at that time there were not many internet news, and in 1980, so they need to read newspapers, and so they need to buy newspapers to read news. And Nancy read the news and so, no, this is completely different from what I have seen. And Nancy know a very famous detective, Sergeant William Hughes. And so she called William and said, oh no, the news on the newspaper wasn't true. Like, who wrote that? Yeah. You've already seen the dead body. How can they just describe so simple? And so William said, oh no, I don't know. And I don't know. How come they just wrote so simple? And I will definitely find out. And so Nancy told William, very seriously told William. So we cannot just let go this murder. I have already seen very clearly when he was killing before he killed Amy, he killed many other people, and he will kill more. So this kind of murder, we need to catch him as soon as possible. Otherwise, how can the people in the town be safe? And why should we just write such a very simple news? So we need to catch him right away. But only, after 10 days, the next victim, there came the next victim. It was Judy. And she was a waitress in a restaurant, and it was after midnight when she finished work from the restaurant. And on the way, when she was driving, and she was kidnapped and took away. Was she walking? Oh, she was driving, and she was forced. She was forced to be off the road, and then she was kidnapped and took away. And there were also other drivers who drove by. Yeah, so usually the police would say, oh, anybody passed that area at a certain day at certain time, and if you tell us the details, then there will be prize. And so yes, witness did report to the police that there was a green Chevrolet who kidnapped the girl, and yeah, so it was a green Chevrolet. So it was exactly the same kind of car. Would it be the same murderer? And and then the police saw the car print, you know, is that left on the road is actually the same as the other green Chevrolet, and so somebody might tire tracks. Okay, yeah, you might think that. Well, usually it can be a same type of car, but if you drive maybe 60,000 kilometers or maybe 10,000 kilometers, and also the habit of driving and how many kilometers the car has driven, it will leave different kind of tire tracks. And so the forensic evidence has already proved that these are the same cars. And so only after 10 days, the second victim was killed. And so now it's very clear that this person is the same, it was killed by the same killer. I'm also so angry about this. And so William knows that this is that Nancy knows all the details, and so he invited Nancy to go through all the sites. And so when Nancy came to Amy, to the place where Amy was killed, and through his psychic power, she was able to feel the whole process when Amy felt when she was about to be killed, and you know, the whole process. So in and there was a very important thing. She sensed that Amy asked the killer not to kill her. It's because that the murderer wanted to kill her, and so Amy begged him not to kill her, but the murderer didn't stop. He still killed her, and that's so bad. And so all these pain and sufferings that Amy experienced, Nancy, can feel all of that and sensed all of that. And Nancy, in her mind, also had some signs of the killer, some features or some information about the killer. And she saw, he was originally from Poland. So this killer was a Polish descent, but this killer is already in the United States, and he was from Florida. Florida, is it in the south of United States? Yes, it's the south of the United States. Oh, Nancy can see where he was from. And maybe he lives in this province, but or in this state, but he actually originally came from a different state. And she also sensed that this killer has killed other people before and was put into prison, but he had an early parole. Yeah, he was put into prison before. Maybe in the prison he was fine, and so or maybe he was sick and then he was released, because any prisoners put into prison, then the government would need to also have a lot of money to pay for that. You know, all the police in the prison and all the stuff there and all the power and expenses. And so the government of the United States usually, if the person is okay, then they yeah, so say, for example, they are sentenced for 20 years, usually maximum 15 years. And if that person, you know, proclaim that they are already, they're going to be kind and they're going to be a good person, yeah, then they will be released and set free. And so, so this killer actually was put into prison, but had the early Pharaoh. And Nancy also saw the name of this killer, and his name was James. And his last name was, yeah, so what was his last name? So James is his first name, and she couldn't see very clearly of his first name, but yeah, usually people just call them first names, right? Only when you are having any official, you know, signature something, then they would, yeah, they would use the last name. But Nancy was still able to see like K, D, A, B, A, like I, T, some, yeah, something like, yeah. So she was able to, through the psychic ability, she was able to already see so much. And Christian said, wow, this is already a lot. And she also knows that he was from Florida, and she was, she had an early parole. And this murderer, Nancy also says that he even enjoyed the torture and the killing, and this is really a monster. And yeah, so in this world, like, there can be all kinds of people. This is really a very abnormal person, really. A very aberrant. And so Nancy described all these to William, the detective William, and then so the police invited Nancy to go to where Judy was killed, and then Nancy was able to see some new image, and again she saw a naked girl's body. And the body was threw out from a speedy car, very high-speed car. So even if she was not dead before she was tossed out, she could die just being tossed out. And that was also a green Chevrolet. And she sensed even more. She sensed another car and a truck driver. She sensed another truck and a truck driver. Oh, so what about this truck driver? Is he a good person or bad? Well, the murderer was driving a green Chevrolet, but what about this truck? And then, because there was someone who called the police and reported the case, and then the police already know. Actually, they already saw the truck driver. After Judy was tossed out from the green Chevrolet, she had already been cut and raped and threw out. And there was a parked truck. The truck driver was actually napping, and this lady, a naked girl, and was bleeding. And so the truck driver suddenly saw the naked, the girl was bleeding, and immediately wrapped her with the blanket and called the police. And so when the police arrived, Judy has already died. So this truck driver was a very kind driver. Yeah. Wow, what a pity. And I just feel so much pain. And so disgusting, this killer. So we need to continue to provide information. And then Nancy continued and used a lot of time to try to see him. And then she saw more information. You know, Americans, when they describe the height, they use, so she saw that the killer was 5 feet 10. So it's about like 1.8 meters, and a little thin and very thin and long nose. And also she was able to see that this killer's brother was a car, you know, it's a repair shop, and so this is the car. The car belongs to his brother, and they are all local. And this killer, actually from very young, he already had a very criminal mindset. And when he was in high school, he has already been a very terrible and horrifying person in the town. And he always bullied others. But in the town, because this is a small town, everybody know him. And so usually people dare not say like who is the killer. They won't just say randomly. And Nancy sensed so even more details like this. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's getting more and more details. Now, when Detective William, with all this information, he should be able to just find, maybe he could just check all the name lists from those high schools, and then, or just go to see some garage over there, and we'll be able to find the killer very easily, I guess. And Grandmaster says, however, but because of the situation at that time and the human resources, when Detective Williams report to his boss all these information, so when he reported to his boss, and so they said, oh, well, because in the United States they need evidence. You cannot just say, oh, it's just an image in your mind. How can they believe? And they don't. So the prosecutor didn't believe in that. So they don't, they don't believe in those. And so if they have an open mind, So what about just give it a try, right? Just like the like Robert, Detective Robert. He even tried to search in those like 500,000 people, and then now Nancy has already provided such detailed information. At least you can give it a try, right? Well, in any country, there could be things like this. When police are trying to investigate, and especially in a trial on the court, they need to have absolute evidence. It cannot be just a guessing, or they have to have very solid evidence. They couldn't just say, oh, you're guilty because that psychic said that you are you're the killer. So yeah, so that's why the prosecutor understood this way. And also, after they have had all the high educations, it would be hard for someone to believe that can a human being be able to know so many information? Yeah. So what they have heard, maybe they've already had impression that some so-called psychic, they are always just exaggerating or even telling lies. So the police definitely need very solid evidence so that they can arrest the person. Yeah, what a pity. Yeah, but it's already the second person, right? If it continues, it would be so terrible. And then Nancy was so worried from what she has already seen. This serial killer who has already killed 2 girls within 2 weeks. And she saw that he had already killed also other people before. And he can continue to kill. If we do not arrest him sooner, there will be even more girls being in danger. And so what about the police? What did they do? They're just waiting. So, oh no, so this case would just be a cold case like many other cases. And so William tried to recommend Nancy to help them with the investigation. And yeah, but the police officers, they don't listen. And then so this just makes the whole detective even harder. But Nancy has already seen that very soon, if they do not arrest this killer, he will continue to kill. Any family, if they had girls experiences, so it's so painful. And Nancy is a lady; she definitely feels the pain. But the police bureau, they don't care about what she has seen, and they don't agree to arrest him. So from being very depressed and very angry, and finally she found her own way. Oh, so if the police won't go and arrest him, Nancy will do something because she's angry. So she will try every single way to stop him to kill. Wow. So what did she do? She has also psychic friends and psychic students. So she called all of them to her home, and so they would practice together and also pray together, and to pray for the highest divine that they believe, and they pray for the support of their highest divinity to help them and support them. Well, it might sound kind of mysterious, but so they prayed for a whole night, at least like 12 hours. Was their effort be in vain? Well, the next day, so William's police office, they received a 911 call. A man called them. Oh, someone took him out of the way and stabbed him on the back. Wow. It looked like, oh, is that a girl who called? No, it's a man. And so every time when they report to the police, they definitely need to tell what their names are and your address. And so the police will go to his home to go and see him because they need to help him, right? So the police car drove all the way to his home. Well, in Canada, it would be like this too, right? If you report to the police, usually within 20 minutes, the police will come. And then the police saw that this is exactly the person, that green Chevrolet was parking in the yard. So the man who reported to the police was James. So he was that killer who called the police because he was like stabbed twice. Oh my gosh, he was stabbed for 2 times, and he saw somebody forced him away from the highway, and he said there was a lady with a dark brown hair who forced him off the road and stabbed him twice. So who was that brave woman with the brown hair? And so that day, Detective William also went there, and so he saw that's the green Chevrolet. So the forensic doctor checked the car. Oh, that's exactly the same car with the same tire tracks, and his name was James. How to pronounce that? Kadacich. Yeah, Kadacich. Yeah. So this sounds like a Polish name. Yeah. It's not a very. So so does this name matches the name that Nancy has seen? Yeah, look at the last name Kitch. Yeah, look at his name. Well, Nancy didn't saw the full name, but James was completely right. And the height and also appearance and the green Chevrolet, these all match what Nancy has seen. And most importantly, this is so dramatic, right? Yeah. So how come the killer was stabbed by somebody else and also be stabbed by a heroine? And he was the one who called the police. So let's see what time he called the police. So it was right after, the night when Nancy and Nancy's friends, psychic friends and students who prayed for the whole night. And it was the next day when James called the police. And so James was driving on the highway, and there was another car who forced him off the road. And then from that car, there was a dark brown hair and stabbed him on the back. But the truth is that William found out that James was actually sleeping at home. He didn't go out. Was that a dream? And the car, he didn't drive the car. He didn't go out. But all the feeling was that this James stabbed himself, but he just felt that somebody forced him off the road, and there was a dark brown-haired lady who stabbed him, and he was stabbed, and he found that he was bleeding, so he called the police. Oh my God, this is so dramatic. Such a way to. Yeah, this is exactly how he hurt the other girls. So this is exactly how Nancy wanted to stop this man to kill others, and Nancy also prayed that this killer will experience all the pain, how he bring the pain to the other victims. But this pain is not as much as the other victims, but James hasn't been killed. when it was not 100% pain that he experienced, but at least he was also horrified and he was also stabbed. And most importantly, he was caught, and he was actually like went into the net by himself. So a lot of times, suspect are able to just, usually psychics just was able to tell some information or able to see something, but this time she was involved in it. Yeah, well, because the police didn't believe in her, and so that forced her to send this killer to the police station. Oh my gosh, I love this Nancy so much. It's like, oh my gosh, we admire her so much. Yeah, psychics even have this kind of ability. Yeah, this dark brown hair. Well, Nancy had dark brown hair at that time, and Nancy was just praying at home, and she didn't go out and use a knife to kill anyone. And it's almost like a manifestation of Nancy who did that, and but the result is the most important. Wow, Nancy is so amazing, and not only her psychic power, but also her kindness and her, the right mindset. And and again when she feel how the victim feels, and so she was very again and again, and she felt that and perseverance. So I have a question, for a psychic, for her to feel such terrible feelings, would that affect her normal life? Yeah, because yes, it will affect her. She has such kind of sense of justice. Well, for a doctor, when you do a surgery for a patient whose, organs are all, messed up and very disgusting, well, your eyes will see this disgusting theme. And if the surgery didn't save the person, and then the family members are all crying, would the doctor be affected by all these? I think so. And police are also like this. If the police person see like the bloody body and all the what if that's your daughter or your sister, or would you feel the pain? Would you feel sad? Would you be affected? And the psychic, in order to help the investigation, she needs to sense all the details. So she needs to enter into that state and go back to the time when the killing was happening. And so her body and mind, of course, will be tortured by the pain. And of course, she would feel that pain. That's why she was so annoyed by, the police didn't agree to arrest the killer. That's why Nancy involved into sending the killer to the police. It's because she was so hurt and she felt humiliated. I tried so hard to do the investigation, but you don't even believe. And she actually did it in a very legal way. And so this killer called the police, and so the police went to his home, and so they were able to test the green Chevrolet, and so so immediately they can confirm that this is the killer for those two girls. So Nancy, is really, she worked so hard and put herself into the position of the victim to sense all of that. At that time, she actually experienced all those pain, to be cut, to be tortured, and to be bullied and abused. And at the same time, she also need to sense what the killer, that kind of insanity. And so just shifting from all of these will definitely deplete her energy, and it's very tiring. And again, right? But in order to catch the killer, she was very willing to experience all those pain. And so she went into that time and space to try to find all the traces and the clues. And so this is a publicly published lady. So is Nancy still alive? Yes. Yes. Do you want to see the picture of Nancy? Yeah, so this is the picture of Nancy, Nancy right now. And also the picture of the killer. Oh, terrifying. All right. Do we have a picture of Detective William? If not, that's okay. Oh, okay. We have Sergeant William Hughes. Yes. Actually, if you're interested, we can also provide Nancy's website. Nancy Orlin Weber. Look at her. She's over 80 years old. The best way to predict the future is to create it. And she's continuing to help people. Wow, we wish her healthy and longevity. We want to send her our deepest good wish her health, longevity, and all her wishes will come true. She will enjoy all the good fortune, and whatever religion you believe, we hope Buddha light will bathe on you. You are like a living bodhisattva. We all need to learn from you. And from her website, we see that she helped all kinds of helped with all kinds of cases. She helped for over 40 years. Yeah, she was a psychic investigator. Yeah. She's almost like a detective, but it's not a policewoman. And yeah, without the psychic, a lot of times it would be very, very hard for them to find any clues. So they are like super police women. So in her story, she let her students also, they had like a spell, right? That kind of energy. And then the next day, the killer called the police. So the power of the spell is, it's so powerful. So it depends on whose spell. So first of all, are there any spells? Would that be so powerful and terrifying? I think so. Say, for example, when Nancy was trying to catch the killer, and the killer felt that he was driving and was caught and was stabbed, and he saw a lady who looks like Nancy actually, and actually, but at the same time, James was at home and wasn't driving at all. But he just felt like all of these happened on the road, and he actually stabbed himself, but he felt that he was stabbed by the dark brown-haired lady. and it's like instant result. Also, so when they form a psychic circle, the energy is very, very strong. So a lot of times it's very difficult to, well, it would be hard for us to describe the detail. She invited their highest divine. We don't know who is their highest divine. So this is a very mysterious, tip. Maybe you can find out. I remember, actually, that reminds me of actually an archaeologist who was trying to investigate the Pharaoh's tomb. And it was a true story. King Tut. It was actually the curse of the Pharaohs, the curse of King Tut. They actually had a curse of like 1,000 years. And they said, so Kunti said there was, in front of the tomb, there was like a note said, whoever dared to disturb the peace of the Pharaohs, then they will be, death shall come on, death will come on swift winds to him that touch the tomb of the Pharaoh. So maybe this person who actually has a psychic power, and or maybe is the, maybe the curse was from the highest level psychic, so they wrote on the door. So death shall come on swift wings to him that touch the tomb of the Pharaoh. Would it be, would it come to truth? Did it happen actually? So there were about 20 people. I remember that within 3 years or 5 years, all 20 people died. But only the archaeologists who actually lived over 10 years. The other 20 people died without any normal reason. Like some maybe had an accident, or some maybe was alcoholic or something. Over 20 people died without a very, good reason. And in this, because the pharaohs were buried in that tomb for a long time, and so when human beings maybe have contact with a kind of bacteria that is not from the human world, this kind of bacteria, it's already like 3,000 years. Yeah, usually the bacteria may be from 300 years to 800 years ago, but usually bacteria from 3,000 years ago usually are not effective. I believe what happened is because of the curse. Yeah, so we really need to have awe towards these. When they don't have awe, it's not appropriate. And also I remember there was a very small thing that I mentioned. It was in Qinghai Tao Temple. And I lived there with my master. It was very shortly after China was having the economic reform. And so some schools allowed students to go and visit so that they can see, the Buddhist statues. And so at the time when they visit the temple, my master said, don't let the children touch these Buddhists. And so I was in charge of, a corner of the temple. And the day, when I was in charge, it was the kids who actually came from my school. I know most of the kids, a lot of the Tibetan Buddhist statues, they look quite fierce, not that gentle, right? And so at the corner of the temple, it was actually not on the altar, because in the Cultural Revolution, a lot of the Buddhist statues, they have hidden the statues in the warehouse. And so where they are visiting is the warehouse, actually. And so it was a statue of a goddess, and so there were some ornaments actually with some skulls, and it was a clay statue and painted in different colors. There was a little boy who was 2 years older than me. When he walked through there, when he saw that there was no teacher looking at him, at the time the statues were not on the altar, so it was pretty low. And it was just a warehouse. So he just took a skull out of the statue, and I was shocked. And I told my master, and then my master is living Buddha. My master said, "What? You don't want to live anymore? Are you sure you don't want to live? How dare you to take away this?" Only about a week later, this little boy, he was trying to climb up the roof. At the time, the roof was like, there's a triangle roof. And then when he came down, I don't know why, but he fell from the roof, and so he broke his leg, and ever since then he need to use 2 crutches. So in my 20s, he was still using the crutches, and I heard from others that when he was 27 years old, he was killed in a car accident. Yeah. So at that time, my master said, even if you don't know, you will still be punished. Do you know? Like, everybody who practice there, every day they're practicing and practicing their, mantras and curses and spells. And so those who visit there, yeah, if someone who steal the Dharma tool, it could sell for a pretty good price. Definitely there will be people who, they're human beings. If they haven't learned the lesson, they might not believe, and then they will say, they don't know how serious it could be. And they think that nobody is looking at them. And but after, their masters see that it's stolen, then they will call all the monks there and then say, if you don't give out right now, if you don't tell right now, you'll be really punished. So maybe that person won't say anything, and after half an hour, they won't be. They probably won't tell. Throughout these years, every temple are afraid that anything will be stolen, because they're like responsible for all these assets of the temple, even just a grain of rice. And what if you even steal a statue to sell? This is like committing a crime. So they have a group curse. So anyone who steals will, I don't want to say that, they will have bad result. So how bad? So my master said, unless you're crazy. Yeah, anytime when he saw someone who steals things from the temple, he would say, unless you are crazy, yeah, they will be crazy, they will be insane. So your whole family will be insane. Yeah, so that's terrible. So we really need to have the awe. So this is also a curse. It's almost like the some divine is monitoring. Yeah. Now the museums, they have these cameras. The temples and the temples, they don't need cameras, because if you do that, all the divines will be able to see that and the result will come. And so we really need to have that awe. We need to make contributions to protect the temple so that the temple will develop well and serve the whole community. And if you have any bad thoughts, definitely will be punished, because all these temples, or these centers, they are connected with, and also all these wizards or witches or psychics, they're channeling with unseen power. You'd rather steal from a bank than stealing from the temple. No, I'm not recommending you to steal from bank at all. And then you think, oh no, I'm not going to steal from the temple. You're going to just steal from your master. Well, yeah, you want to be insane? Well, actually, I've seen on the movie, in Russia, there was a church. Maybe it was a church that hasn't been used for a long time. So the villagers used the bricks from the church to build their own house. And then they found that a lot of the villagers, they would commit suicide. And then they invited a psychic to come and see. And until the psychic told them it's all because you use the bricks from the church. So I believe this is wrong too. So just ordinary person cannot use those, sacred things to use, because this is a big crime or a big sin. So we really need to learn that. Well, actually, I thought about another thing. It's about me. Actually, long time ago, 1992, 1993, in Guangzhou. I don't remember the details. I heard people around me and said, someone who liked the cup that I use. It's not because the cup is very pretty. Maybe they just think that because of my practice, my cultivation, and maybe I can bring good energy to them, and the cup will bring good energy to them. So they ask my assistant to steal that cup for him. And so that person bought a new cup, exactly the same as mine, and so exchanged with mine. A few months later, the cup was sent back to me, and there was a very long letter to repent. And so that person used my cup to drink the water. But ever since then, he always had high fever, 39.5 degrees Celsius. And ever since then, he always is in high fever for 3 months. It almost killed him. And so after he finally understood and realized that he needed to send the cup back to me. And so the letter was sent to the person beside me, my assistant, and so this assistant dare not hide it anymore. So he gave me the letter and the cup again. I said, I can actually give you the cup if you really want it. And then he said, no, I don't want to have high fever. And then is it that amazing? Maybe today, if you seal my cup, you won't have high fever. You might just be dizzy or crazy. Well, yeah, I suddenly, reminded me of this. Yeah, because my level is low, I just make you maybe have high fever. If I'm a higher level, yeah, so maybe you will see, you see someone behind you. I can see that. Oh, it looks like your mom. Oh, yes. My mother just passed away a year ago. And it's like 1 year right after her death. And he said, really? Oh, I've never seen. Yeah. And some ladies might say, oh, there's some little kids around you, you standing around you. Oh, how many abortions did you have? Oh, there were like 2 boys, 1 girl. Oh, you had 3 abortions. Why do they come to me? And they said, oh, because you're their father. And the lady might say, I've already tried to release their souls, but then now they're missing you, yeah, and they're trying to find something from you. But if you do not give them, because you cannot see them, yeah, and maybe they're just coming for, yeah, maybe you suddenly have headache or toothache or backache or any kind of ache. Yeah, because the mother owed them something. So if they come to ask for the debt, but the mother just feel the discomfort and didn't know that this is because they are coming to ask for the debt. But some practitioners or some psychics, they were able to see. So some very good practitioners, because they actually have their dharma protectors in the spiritual world. Do you know that? What do you think? What did you what? Yeah, now they're saying like, oh, I'm so scared. If it doesn't belong to me, I couldn't even have the thought of taking it. And the man who took my cup, and maybe he was thinking like, I give you a new cup. You have already, you have an old cup, and I'm exchanging with the new cup. And maybe, and then he got divorced. And well, it's actually a very kind way to punish him. Yeah, it's already giving him a way out. We really need to know that this punishment is quite terrible. Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of these are very funny, but also interesting. So a lot of things that happened around me are quite terrible too. And when you think it over, it's quite horrifying. And so especially when we learn Buddha Dharma, a lot of the Buddhist teachings, we really need to abide by all the precepts and all the rules, and in the temple or in the center, and especially when dealing with master, we really need to be 100% or 100 times of respect and reverence, and so that we can learn the compassion of master. Well, you're very compassionate. Yeah. If you have the respect, then maybe we have the connection, and so you'll be blessed with more Buddha light. If you're just like an ordinary person and always, calculate with me about all the details, and if you really care about all those trivials, then you might see a lot of the things that you don't like. I hope you'll be able to tolerate Yeah, to a certain level, you know, the master can be very compassionate and he will not punish you, but the Dharma protectors, sometimes they're very strict. Maybe they will hit you with a stick or some kind of punishment. It's all possible, right? Well, continue to learn. Thank you, Grandmaster. This is a very good lesson for us to learn, so that we know that we need to respect everything and have the awe towards everything in the world. And in this spiritual world, is there anything to do with our, actual world, this model world? And is the spiritual world the same world as where we would go after we die? So, Christine, you actually told me a story of the red bird. Can you share that with me? Yeah. So actually, it was surviving death that we actually watched on Netflix. So it recorded some, doctors or some other people who have had near-death experience, and so they were describing about their near-death experience, and so they have a story, a story like this, and it was a sister. I think the Jane. Yeah, it's a true story. And so their mother was already over 90 years old. The sisters lived in California and the mother lived in Virginia. When the mother was still healthy, usually mother will go to California to see the sisters. But when the mother wasn't able to fly over, so the sisters would flew to Virginia to see their mother. And so usually they will stay with their mother for a few months, and then they will go out and then to see nature. They will see many birds, and then the mother and the daughters are they all like to observe the birds, and they like the nature, and they like to relax there, and they like to discuss about it. And so there was a kind of bird, it's called a red cardinal, and all three of them love the red cardinal. And so Jenny asked her mother and said, would you send us a cardinal when you get to heaven? And so, yeah, if you are in heaven, then we will be very happy. And then the mother was also quite humorous and said, okay, well, yes, of course, I'll try. And then their mother passed away when she was 97 years old. Well, 97 years old, she lived quite long. And the day after the funeral, so the sisters, they still like to be in their mother's home, and so they were playing bridge together. That's what their mother's favorite card game. And when they were playing game, the bridge game, and suddenly they heard some sound on the window, and they heard a bird. It was a cardinal bird, and the sisters were so happy. Oh, look, Mom came. Oh, Mom came to come and see us. So, yeah, look at them. They were so happy and hold the cardinal as if it's their baby, and they were so happy, and they were like smiling with their tears. And so, yeah, so this is a cardinal, but it's not just a cardinal, it's their mother. And so it's just like their mother promised them that she's going to send the cardinal to them to tell them, to send the message. And so when they were talking to the cardinal as if they were talking to their mother, So it was not like they have just lost their mother, but they were very happy. And they wanted to let go the cardinal. We shouldn't keep the cardinal for too long. We don't want to hurt the cardinal. And so they want the cardinal to go. But the cardinal, whatever they do, the cardinal doesn't want to go. And look, yeah, they wanted to sort of let go the cardinal, but then the cardinal came back to the shoulder of the sister, and they were like so happy when they were looking at the cardinal. Oh, Mom, you're still here. You're still holding me. And they were so happy. And so they knew that what they had told and talked to their mother, the mother kept her promise. And even though she already passed away, but mother's spirit came back to the sisters and say farewell to the sisters. So this is a very beautiful story, even though they also lost their mother. But when the sisters share that story, we just feel such warmth and such, joy. And yeah, this is a very, even though a little sadness because of losing the mother, but there's also a kind of sweetness in the story. And this is incredible, kind of. Yeah. So, Mother, if you go to heaven, could you send a cardinal back? Yes. So this is a very beautiful story. And this also reminds me of what you, Grandmaster, you mentioned at the beginning, is that actually everybody has these channeling, and so we should sense, yeah. And anytime they can send us messages, we just need to keep that sensitivity so that we can receive the message from our loved ones and, our family. Yeah, it could be a butterfly, or, and sometimes, so when they go to heaven, maybe they can turn into a cardinal and come back, and they're about to go, but they're just coming back to say farewell. So this is a lot of love. It's just like, the ancient Chinese story about Zhao Jun, who was from the middle of China, who was about to go to Mongolia, and she always looked back. And so, when the mother left the human world, she still have this love towards the sisters and also the human world. And this is one kind. Some people might think that, this kid, that's actually my father's reincarnation. So sometimes in our lives, some people will accept this because they just feel so close to the child. Say, for example, Emperor Qianlong in the Ming Dynasty, he used 2 ministers. The most famous is He Shen. Why he put so many power to He Sheng? Because he felt that he really looked like the most lovely lovely concubine who had passed away. Well, actually, He Sheng is very handsome, and skin is very white, and also very gifted, both so the emperor just felt that the concubine spirit is on He Sheng. So that's why He Sheng was given a lot of authority and power. And there was also Fukan. It's also a similar case. He was also like the reincarnation of another someone. So that's why even if Fukan didn't win the battle, he would still trust him as if like he trusts him as if he's trusting his father, because he felt that this is his relative or his concubine, so he would use. Yeah, so that's why he trusts him and give all the power to him. If the emperor is like that, the ordinary people would have more cases like that. Yeah, so that's why. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes they will come back. It looks like it's an old friend or old family. So how do they come back? Maybe a family member or have something to do with you. Maybe just before death, does he or she has a wish? Maybe he or she says, in the next life, I want to be with you in my next life. Oh, my child, I love you. Yeah. And the parent loves the child. And if the parent said, next life, I will be with you again. And that's a very powerful word. And in the next life, they will be together, will be linked. Maybe the last life, it's, say, for example, your grandfather may become your son or your grandson. Even though he's not the grandfather, but the grandson, but this love will continue. Wow, beautiful. And there was an Italian old man who really loved a black dog. And so he really, really loved the dog. When he was hiking, he would not hike with the dog. He would carry the dog to hike because his mother passed away. And once he passed through, he passed a pet store, and there were some donated dogs. And so he has never had a pet dog before. He was just looking at a dog, and he was just looking at, oh, this is a cute dog. Oh, this dog is so cute. And the dog is always, looking at him like an old friend and wagging the tails. And how come the dog loved me so much? And when he reached out the arm, then the dog immediately catched his hand, and then so he asked the owner of the pet store and said, Julie? Oh, my mom's name is Julie. And then when he looked at the dog, this is really like my mom. And so, oh, mom, come back with me. And so that's why when he was hiking, he was carrying the dog. And so whenever he's eating, he would let his mother eat first. Because in his last life, it was his mother, and now this life, this is his dog. And so his mother would live in the master bedroom. So because that's what he believed. But the dog dogs die earlier after over 10 years, like 20 years, and then the dog need to die, and then he had to have another funeral and say, oh, mom, how come you die? And then so he buried the dog right beside his mother, and then, well, believe it or not, so it's just his love and his feeling. Yeah. And then after that, he said, no, I'm not going to have a dog again. I'm so sad. Well, and so after 2 years, he went back to the pet store again, but I'm not going to continue. So if you, yeah, a lot of times religion will have a lot of impact on you, but your feeling will go beyond all of that. So forget about your religious belief. And if you just have the feeling, oh, Julie, that's my mother. And so if you feel that way, nobody can change that. And maybe you think, oh, this dog is my father. Or maybe, oh, this child is my child. And yeah, this is my child. So has this happened before? Yes. So actually, I have a lot of stories like this. If you like to listen, you can wait. Yeah. So a lot of our online friends are very excited. They're so excited to hear these stories. And some our online friends said, I want to also increase my psychic ability so that I can very accurately also connecting with my relatives before. So what is the question? So they like to ask Grandmaster to teach us how we can improve our psychic ability. Okay, well, after you listen to part 8 of Clairvoyant, maybe, yeah, you need to be patient. So it's like making a bread, you need to go, you have to bake to that certain length of time so that it will turn into a bread. And so, yeah, so this, intuition or inspiration is very, it's hard to learn. Yeah. Well, so, I just have like tons of stories like this. And so today I'd like to chant with our online friends. Let's chant together. Look at these statues, these golden Guru Rinpoche's statue to protect us, peaceful and safe, and wish fulfillment, and our children will be filial to avoid all these evil energy. So let's chant together. Let's start.
Banta kulu pe me si di hu, hong a ho. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, hong a ho. Banta kulu pe me si di hu. Kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om Ahu. Banta kulu pe me si di hu, Om 班扎咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡阿呼，班扎咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡阿呼，班扎咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡阿呼。班扎咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡阿呼，班扎咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡阿呼，班扎咕噜贝美西迪呼，嗡阿呼。 达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼。嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼。班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼。班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼。班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼。班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼。班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼。班达咕噜贝美西地呼，嗡阿呼，班达咕噜贝美西地呼。
好，大家搓搓手。
All right. Now, please rub your hands and then your face.
最后再拍拍头。
Now, pat your head.
一切疾病消失，一切烦恼
All
消失，
illnesses disappear. All frustrations and
一
afflictions
切痛
disappear.
苦消失，
All sufferings disappear.
好，无理。
All right, Christine.
今天的直播时间呢，大概就到这里哈，不要太久了哈。
So today, that's about it for our live stream. So let's tell everybody what time would be the next live stream. So actually next week, we in North America we will have the light savings, and so next time it would be Saturday, March the 19th at 6 p.m. So our Asian friends, it will be Sunday, March the 20th. It would be 9 a.m. Right now, it would be your 10 a.m., but with our summer saving time, it would be 9 a.m. on March the 20th. It would be our next live stream. So that's all for today's live stream. I wish everybody auspiciousness and wish fulfillment, health, longevity, and happiness. So I'll see you next time.